we have another graphing problem where we're told something about the equation of the line and asked which one of these graphs makes the most sense. So there's two things we know, actually three things, but one of them isn't really that important. We know the equation right here, okay, negative ax plus by equals c. That's not normally the way we talk about the equation, and I'll walk through what we do with this. And then we have this piece of information that's very useful, and I guess this is useful information, a, b, and c being integers. Okay, that's important. In other words, whole numbers. They're not fractions. That'll make our life easier. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation over here, and I'll just write it again a little bigger, and we're going to play with it with some algebra. This isn't normally how we talk about the equation of a line. Normally, it's rearranged, and I'm going to show you a different way of phrasing this. Right? Do you see what I did? I just added the ax over to the right side. And now look what I'm doing. Notice how I'm dividing each side by b. Well, why would I do these things? Notice how I have now phrased this equation. I've written this right here, this term, as, I don't like the way that looks. I've written this term right here as my slope. Right? That's the slope of the equation. And the other term, that c over b business right here, what's that going to be? Well, if you're familiar with these equations, you remember it's mx plus b, or in other words, that's going to be my y-intercept. So let's think about the equation this way. A over b times x and c over b is your y-intercept. And now we're going to pull in this other piece of information over here, where I know that c is less than 0, is less than b, is less than a. So what's that mean? That means, well, for one thing, c divided by b is a negative, right? Because c has to be less than 0 and b has to be greater than 0. So that means you have a negative y-intercept. Well, which one of these are our possibilities? Negative y-intercepts. This one, that's got a negative y-intercept. This one right here, that's possible. This one over here. And the other two, at least, we can rule those out. Okay? The other two have positive y-intercepts, so we're not going to consider this one. We're not going to consider this one. Next, let's use some information about the slope. If you look at a and b, okay, I'll pick a different color here, gold. If you look at the a and b values, a and b is positive because both of them are greater than 0. And not only that, a over b is such that a is big and b is small. Well, what happens when you divide a big number by a small number? You get something bigger than 1, right? That could be like 5 divided by 2 or 10 divided by 3, right? It's going to be some positive number greater than 1, which means not only is this slope positive, but it's fairly steep. It's going to be going uphill rather quickly, right? It's rise over run, and that's going to be a fairly strong slope. So there's only one of these that fits this description of going uphill and going uphill steeply, right? You had another option that was uphill, and that was this one, but it was going uphill at a shallow pace. You can see that's clearly a slope less than 1.